We made it 34 minutes behind schedule, but perfect divine timing. We are here. I am Julie Murphy, and we are here for Awaken Your Spirit on this fine, balmy morning in Chicago. And I'm the author of the book, Awaken Your Wealth. And I want to tell everybody, go to juliemurphy.com and give me your email address if you would like a free copy of my book, because next week I'm launching to where you just have to pay for shipping, because it's time for people to actually start to financially heal where they're at. But the money doesn't show up unless you align your life, or I should say the money doesn't show up in the way that you would desire unless you align your life along with your spirit and your soul. And David here is the expert in that. David, tell everybody about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. So the sun's about to come up here in Sedona, and the beautiful red rocks will appear. But yes, you know, it's Julia and I have been working together for quite a while, several years now, and and so this idea of aligning your not only your mental, but your emotional and your soul body, so that the whole of you is aligned and congruent with whatever you wish to create. And so it's really quite a journey into the heart, into the soul, into levels of power, if you will, that come from your heart center. So most of us have been very used to working solely out of the mind and our thoughts.
Right.
But now it's time to really go in deeper and work from a level of power through the heart, through the intelligence of the heart, and incorporate that in our creations. Because so many times when we create just from the mental level, what seems like a good idea, ultimately you go, it didn't turn out quite the way I thought it was going to. Right? It doesn't quite feel. The stuff showed up, but there was a whole lot of other stuff that showed up that I wasn't planning.
That's so true. But I can say on the flip side, I've had so many things show up that, gosh, it's even better than I could have imagined.
Isn't that right? Yes.
And it never necessarily comes in exactly the package you expect, but from a spiritual soul activation perspective, it's really about continuing to hold the intention of what it is that you want to create. So, I always believe that personal examples are always the best. And so that you can identify with what's going on and relate it. So I kept holding the intention for the highest and best for me, my kids, and my ex-husband. And this past week, we have come to some incredible agreements and a new level of respect of the current scenario, that it's like, okay, the past is the past. None of that matters. It's about how do we want to build as a divorced family moving forward. And all I kept doing the last couple years, because it did take a few years, I've been divorced about 2.5 years now, of just holding the space for the highest and best for me, him, and the kids. I didn't know how we were going to get there, but we had a major breakthrough. And so it's about allowing, it's about holding the space and choosing to break out of the patterns and the habits that got you there in the first place. Right? That we can allow miracles to happen. But if you don't work on you, because this was all about me shifting individually, because you can't always get what you've gotten if you shift and interface differently. Yet super easy to go back to the old, but it's one of the things that just to be mindful of is that this allowing is the only way that miracles can show up in your life.
Right. And, part of the miracle is that we we get so caught up in stories and patterns, and we perpetuate them, and it's like waking up out of that dream and going, wait a minute, you know, these stories have been following me my entire life, and are they true for me anymore? And most of the time they're not. They're obsolete. And so it's about making new choices.
Right.
And moving through an evolution of consciousness. So all the change that's going on the planet right now is really about breaking out of the old and birthing into the new, getting out of old concepts, old programs, and moving into our hearts, into our soul, starting to have some compassion for not only our, you know, for ourselves as well as everybody else. Realizing that in this transformational period where there's definitely a lot of change and sometimes a lot of confusion, that, you know, you kind of have to wait for the dust to settle a little bit, you know, and go, okay, where am I now? And how do I really feel about this? You know, and it's not, it goes beyond emotion. It goes into the heart. You know, we talk a lot about the intelligence of the heart. And so that's that part of you that it's the knowing. And if you're quiet enough, and if you can quiet the mind enough, all of a sudden you'll start to know things, and you go, and you may not know how you know it, but you'll know it. And then, you know, I in watching all the transformation that you've been through, Joy, I've watched you go through that process.
Yeah, it's a process. But I have to tell you that when you get to the other side of that process, you feel lighter, you're happier. I actually physically look younger. You know, it's really quite amazing how that ripples effects to every facet of your world. And, but this is about really tuning into, you know, self-love, self-care, and going inside. I always talk about, you know, my first book, The Emotion Behind Money, I talk about how you build your wealth from the inside out. That's the subtitle of the book. And what I mean by that is that get really in tune with your soul today. Typically, what many of us do is that we actually create these crises in our lives. And a lot of people are like, I didn't call in cancer. Who would do that? Or let's talk about, or who would call in coronavirus and get that, right? But on a soul level, we have to remember that we have two operating systems. We have the conscious mind and then the subconscious mind. It's our subconscious mind that creates and calls these things in, because they'll create shifts in the direction. You know, I always say that here's your soul's path that you've come here to live, and then and that's in alignment with your personal will and, you know, your, you know, whatever you decide in life, personal choice. And then as those things become separated, that's the bigger the crisis to get that back into alignment. And we no longer have to create the crisis to shift, and we don't need to call in more protests and more, you know, upheaval. Like, we have to choose that, and we're all connected.
Right. So certainly with all the change that all of us have been in the last 6 months, you know, kind of the crack in the world is looking at that and going, what is the opportunity for growth and transformation? What, you know, now that my world is changing, and I'm not living out of my past, right? Now I'm living out of my now, out of this moment, and those now, the things that I choose in my now moments are part of the structure of my new life, of my new consciousness, and so it gives all of us the opportunity. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, we're creating new lives, we're creating new structures, which, you know, and kind of getting into that whole flow and going, if not now, when? You know, and I watch people move different places, do all sorts of different things. They're restructuring their lives. So,
yeah, I always talk about the fact of do what makes you giggle.
Right.
Because you know that that's then in alignment with your heart and soul. But if it feels daunting or feels heavy or it gives you anxiety, then it's not in alignment with your soul. But the thing is we try to then reason it out, and that's where we get jammed up. It's like, no, you can't start it from here. You got to start it from here.
Right.
And even we were talking earlier as we were coming online that that it's also about holding space and having compassion for those who are a little out of their skin these days with everything going on. There's a lot of people that are sitting in a lot of fear and a lot of stress. They're not sure of their tomorrow for very good logical reasons. And compassion is a key component as opposed to engaging. Just hold compassion.
Right. And it's like, in your own particular situation, it just finally, where everybody quits fighting, and you go, okay, how do we resolve this, right? What do we do that's workable? How do we resolve it? And resolve is part of the compassion. Resolve is also part of connecting into the heart, rather than mind, and getting out of positionality, if you will. So if everybody has a position that they're trying to defend, it's like when you can move out of that and go, the position's ridiculous. It's mental anyway. So let's go into the heart. Let's go deeper, and let's figure out how to work this out.
Exactly.
Right?
Right. So true. Well, why don't we take people into some meditation and some high vibration energy to help people raise their vibration today so that they can attract more of what they desire as opposed to what they don't desire?
Sure. So one of the things about, excuse me, I need a little coffee here. All right. So one of the things about, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a whole lot of crystals here. And in moving energy, okay, energy is, so essentially what I'm doing is I've become very good at opening my heart center and energy centers and being able to project that to other people. And so what that does is it creates frequency. It creates vibration. And we're all heading into this integrating the idea that this is a vibrational universe. And so, at one time I was really good at visualizing stuff. I could just, anything I could see, I could manifest. And that happened to me at a pretty young age. But what I've learned since then is that if I create a vibrational field, which is what we're going to do right now, and I bring a lot of love and a lot of intensity into it, that vibration is going to create a vibrational environment that really is going to hold everything that I want to create in place. So it's like, it's like all of us have had the experience of, we come into a place and all of a sudden we're feeling negative vibration. We're like, uh-oh,
you
or
just
like,
bolt the other way.
Yeah, how can I get out of here, right?
Right.
And it's the same thing that, there are times where we walk into something that we just feel all of a sudden the warmth and the embrace and the love, and you're like, wow, this feels really good, and you just kind of relax and open up. And so when we're working from that heart center, as we're opening your heart center, then allowing that flow of creativity to come through, and things might bubble up for you. It's like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to create that. And it's like when you've got the energy behind it, okay, then the creation, the manifestation happens really quickly, sometimes almost instantly. And so the other part of allowing that flow of energy is that then to allow kind of the flow of that to have a bit of a magic about it. Things I find when you send out vibrational things that things create in ways that I couldn't have possibly imagined, but in ways that are almost magical. And
Yeah, for
it's like
sure.
if I mentally get out of the way and allow, then the flow happens.
Right.
And so this happens in very concrete ways. You know, it's like actually I'll share something with the group. I was a designer for many years. I designed homes. And so I designed this home for this gentleman here in Sedona, and very wealthy man. And so a lot of the things that I included in this home were things that I absolutely loved, you know, pieces of furniture and stuff that were just the finest and the best. And, you know, I was like, I figured I would never be buying those kinds of things for me, particularly at this stage of my life. But it was a joy and a pleasure to be able to bring them together for him. And actually, you know, it was a joy and a pleasure to do this design job because I was a really good designer, but I decided that at this point in my life, I needed to be working with people and with crystals. So I did the house about 3 years ago, and then he bought another house in Oregon, and he came to me, and we were doing a session. He said, you know, we're going to sell the house here in Sedona. And he said, you know, all the furniture or a lot of the furniture that you put in the house, I just want to give it to you. And, you know, a week ago,
all your dream furniture.
All my dream furniture showed up in the most magical way you could imagine, right?
Right.
So my love and my attention to that was really to give to somebody else what I would love to have for myself, which is always a gift for all of us to be able to give something to another that we would love to have for ourselves, whether it's a material thing or whether it's, you know, loving somebody in a way that we would love to be loved, or, you know, all of that. And so in the purity of that, right, those things come around. And it was such a wonderful lesson for me out of nowhere, right? So anyway, I hope that story stimulates the magical things that can happen when we get into a place where we are aligned in our heart and our soul in a very pure way. The universe wants to support us and gift us.
Right.
And yeah. So anyway, all right. So we're going to go into our heart center, go into your core. All right. Go into your heart. And
David's going to use his crystals. If those of you are wondering what that is, that's one of his major crystals that he uses.
Oh, you want to see the crystals?
Well, no, I just wanted to show him, like, you had brought up the crystal. So this is how you project the energy to us in a meditation session. So I wanted to just explain that to people.
Oh, right. So, these crystals are accelerators. They accelerate energy. And I've worked with crystals for many years now, and so that's what we're doing here. I'm just going to accelerate the energy for all of us. And so anyway, let's go in to the core. Let's go into our heart. And as we're going into the energy, I'd like you to identify, I'd like something to bubble up for you that's your heart's desire. Something that comes to you, that is made known to you, whether it happens right now or it happens later today or next week, but something really at the very core of you that comes up that you realize is very, very important in your soul. And who knows what that'll be. But anyway, all right, so we're going to go into our core. I'd like you to experience yourself, imagine yourself in a pyramid of 24-karat golden light. The base of the pyramid are 3 circles of light, 13 mama dragons, 13 pointed stars, and 13 dream weavers. Now, I'd like you to feel this 24-karat golden light come into your toes, your arches, your heels. You feel it moving up your legs, into your hips. And when we get to the base of the spine, I'd like you to experience the placement of a central sun, a radiant 24 karat golden central sun at the base of your spine. I'd like you to feel the energy of that sun at the base of your spine, and we're going to bring that golden light up the spine. When we get to the heart center, we're going to feel an explosion of light, and I'd like you to really go in and feel with your heart opening. We're going to place the central sun in your heart and just feel and experience the love. So, you know, a lot of times with moms, I'll say, just go in and feel how much you love your children, and that takes you instantly into, you know, this ecstasy, this connection of the heart fully opening. And so we're going to continue with the 24 karat golden light going up the spine, into the shoulders, into your upper arms, your lower arms. Feel it flowing into your hands, your fingers. We're going to place central sun in your palms and in your fingertips. So you're just feeling a radiance in the hands and the palms, and we're going to move to your brainstem. We're going to place another central sun. So we want to feel that radiance at the brainstem, and we're going to connect the central sun at the base of the spine with a toric field of light. So it's going to circulate from the base of the spine through your heart, up through your the central sun at the base of the brainstem. And the way you can kind of imagine this is like a figure eight of energy that continues to recirculate. And so now we're at the brainstem, and we're going to activate your thymus, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your pineal glands. The pineal gland is in the center of your brain. The pineal gland is the gland that connects you into the higher realms of consciousness and awareness. So we're going to place the central sun in the pineal gland, and we're going to expand it from global to galactic, and from galactic to interdimensional. I'd like you to feel the radiance of that, the luminosity of that, activating the neurostructure of your brain. Feel your brain switching on, switching into the multiverse, switching into holographic and multidimensional consciousness. And we're going to spiral right out the apex of the pyramid, traveling through the galactic corridor as plasma light in the form. So now you're traveling through this corridor as radiant golden plasma light in form. And as you're traveling through that corridor, you're going to merge the plasma of your blood with the plasma that is the central sun, creating a fusion of light, feeling the energy of that radiant sun, the plasma of that sun, vibrating through your whole cardiovascular system. And as we're traveling through, we're going to go through galactic gateway, through the initiate, and we're going to go directly into these fractals of light and a cosmic kaleidoscope of radiant crystal fractal light. As you're going into this kaleidoscope, it's spiraling in a clockwise direction. I want you to feel yourself being blown right into the center of that kaleidoscope. There's an oculus, or an all-seeing eye. As you go into that, you're going to go directly into the central sun and feel the radiance of that sun, the warmth of that. Feel that light from the central sun really activating your entire vibrational field. Feel it entering your heart. We're just going to start sending a lot of light and energy as we travel, and really going deep into that quest to the very core of you. What is that deep, deep truth and knowing of something that's really important to you? I think it's really important that you do this lifetime. You may not know what that is, but just let it be there and let the energy move. And whether it bubbles up now or it bubbles up a little bit later, but it's going to reveal itself to you. And so I'm also going to have the intention that your soul reveals itself to you in a way that you can receive it and understand it. We're just going to kind of journey now in silence for a little while. And so as we go deeper into this energy, let's just keep in mind the compassion for self and others. Knowing that all of us are in transformational times. And we're all trying to go through a reconfiguration of awareness and consciousness of the new lives, new worlds that are being presented to us on a day-to-day basis. And if we go deeper into the mystery and the adventure that each day unfolds. Allowing us the opportunity for transformation, the opportunity to awaken to the intelligence of our heart and the intelligence of the soul. To be able to live out of our passion and creativity rather than out of our fear. And to connect into and honor the Mother, the Earth. Opportunity to embrace the sacred. and live out of our passion. Our compassion and our joy. How's this feeling to you, Julie?
Good. I can feel a sense of calm and zoning in on the connection to more joy, and started to visualize more of the playfulness that I will add into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And gratitude for that matter. Because we can all have that regardless of what's going on in the macro environment. Politics, masks, pandemics, protests. Irrelevant when you're peace and calm and have tranquility on the inside. And doing energy work like this actually helps you to get to that place much, much faster with ease and grace. Because I always look at it that if I could have done it myself, I would have already have done it. And so that's why working in groups like this or working with you one-on-one has been super helpful for me over the years.
So it is really clear to me is that, you know, I spend a lot of time in these vibrational frequencies of ecstasy, and it changes my perceptual field. Mm-hmm. The way my day is going to flow is I'm already creating a vibrational alignment for that. Mm-hmm. So that's a very different vibrational alignment than going into life with a great deal of fear and trepidation. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think part of what we're learning now is that we are creators, and we do create our own reality. Mm-hmm. And we've been on autopilot for a very long time, and now we're starting to wake up. And
we are.
Yeah. And choose.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so the key word. We choose. Many of us feel like we don't have a choice, but we do have a choice. And we can choose to create our lives in whatever fashion you want it to be, mm-hmm. regardless of your circumstance. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Well, thank you for putting us through that energetic journey. I feel nice and ready and high vibration for my day. And so, David, if people wanted to do one-on-one work with you, how do they find you?
They can reach me at 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫.com, which is GILARDY. Mm-hmm. And I have a website there, and you can reach me through that.
Beautiful. And don't forget to go to juliemurphy.com. And if you'd like a free copy of my book, I will be sending out all that information next week. Just go to my website, give me your email address, and we will get that to you. And all you have to do is pay for your own shipping, because it is time for all of us to awaken our personal wealth. Thanks, everybody, and see you next Tuesday for Awaken Your Spirit, 8 a.m. Central. And tomorrow, we have our first Awaken Your Work Life. So join us at 11 a.m. Central tomorrow. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great week.
Bye.